Hello, cruel world. Today, I'm going to learn about rational equations. All right? Thank you, Blue. I appreciate the sound effects. Please dispense with pleasantries. Now, what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be solving for what letter? S is correct. We got to figure out what number can get plugged in here and all the other S's to make this side equal to this side. Right. Now, I realize that my S's sometimes may look like 5s, so I'll do my job as best as I can to make sure my S's look like S's and my number 5 looks like the number 5. However, what I'd like you to do first is place this little tiny S right here. Place him over the number 1. Because unfortunately, this denominator is different than this denominator, which is different than this denominator. So let me show you how to get rid of an S plus 2 all the way throughout the entire equation. What you're going to do first, you're going to put a parenthesis around this entire equation. And you're going to multiply everything by S. Is that pretty good there? S there, Bailey? Good. Plus 2. Oh, that's cool. Come on. Parentheses. There we go. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this right here, and you are going to distribute it to every single value that's in the numerator. We're going to do this nice and slow so you understand why I did this. Okay? Jacob, what do we already have in the numerator? That's right. So we're going to add, it was already there, times into S plus 2. And that's all over what's in the denominator? An S plus a 2. Then we'll put plus. Now, what's already up here in the numerator? We already have a what? Yeah, I'm going to trace this in blue. What do we already have in the numerator? We have an S. So we have another what? We have another S. And what are we multiplying it to? We're multiplying it to into S plus 2. And that equals, what do we have in this numerator up here? We have a 5. That's the number 5. S plus 8. We put that in parentheses. And we are multiplying into S. Why is that not changing colors? Good question. Right there. Multiply in S plus 2. And what's already sitting there in the denominator? That's those 2. Right? Now, some of you may be wondering, wait a second, Mr. New, you didn't place all of this over a 1. So I'll just place it over 1 because there still is a 1. Now, that's a lot of work to take this S plus 2 and multiply it to every single number that's in the numerator. But after you do it, hopefully you guys can see what we can now do that we weren't able to do before. Does anybody see what we could do to make this look a little bit simpler? Cancel out the 2 S plus 2's. And Malik, what do we simply have to do? A nice neat S plus. Now nothing cancels out here, does it? So we have to actually distribute the S to both numbers inside of the parentheses. And S times an S, that's S squared. And an S times a 2. This is hard to write, guys, just letting you know. Is a 2 and an S. It is not a 25. That's a 2 and an S. So do you know? Some students think that was a 25. Now, right here, do you see that? That's a 2S right there. Yes, those cancel out. My last period class, I was saying all of this, and I carefully said this was a 2S. And like 3 seconds later, a student goes, why did you write the number 25? I politely let that student know that it's a 2S. not a 25. I realize it's not a very good S. There we go. So now, these cancel out, and this is what you have left. Does anybody see anything we could possibly combine over here on the left side? Ooh, very good. What is 2s plus another s? 3. Correct. Bless you. Thank you. Don't worry, it's not like this is going on YouTube or anything. All right, so here we go. S squared plus 3s equals 5s plus 8. Now, anytime you guys see a little exponent of a 2 up there, that lets you know you are now no longer in the linear realm. You have moved into the realm of quadratics. And whenever you move into the realm of quadratics, you have to set your equation equal to 0. Excellent. So we got to get everything equal to a 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these guys and move them over to the left. How do I get rid of a 5? I heard you, baby. I heard you, Austin. We're taking away 5s from both sides. To get rid of a positive 8, we have to take away an 8. Now, some people like to say use the additive inverse, and that's okay too. Now, if I take away 8 from this side, I'm going to really carefully, nice and tiny, we put minus 8 right over there. So we've zeroed everything out. So this whole equation is now set equal to a 0 on the right-hand side. We're going to lead out with an s squared. 3s minus 5s gives me a 2s. Now you have to ask yourself, can I factor this? Let's see if we can factor this. Now don't tell me the factors just yet. But I do want you to help me start. So we got to find two numbers that add up to something, and two numbers that multiply together to equal something. What do they always multiply together to equal? They multiply together to equal the very last number. And they add up together to equal the middle coefficient right in front of the s. So they add up to a negative 2. Now, I've said this many times, but I'm going to put a little star here. I'm going to put start with factors of, what number are we going to start with? Factors of 8. So what are the only factors of 8, people? 8 and 4 and 4. That's right. 8 times 1 and 4 times 2. But the only two numbers that can somehow get you to a negative 2 is not the 8 and the 1, but it's definitely the 4 and 2. So Jacob, why don't you tell me those numbers?
I got negative 4 and positive 2.
Negative 4 and positive 2. Does everybody agree with those numbers? We agree. Well, they're right. So right here we go. You're going to bring those numbers right over here because negative 4 plus 2 is a negative 2. Negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8. We are going to write s minus 4. I'm sorry, you're sitting in a no yawning zone over there. Don't make me take a chew. Then s plus 2. Now, we have to figure out what number, when plugged in there, makes it equal to 0, and what number, when plugged in right there, equals 0. So I get two answers. One of my answers is the number, and the other answer is negative 2. So if I was going to write my answers in a solution set, I would write negative 2, comma 4. Now there was a word I used at the very beginning of class that said we were going to cover something called some type of solution. Anybody remember that word? Starts with an E. A little extra. Extraneous. One of these answers, everybody, is considered to be an extraneous solution. It's a solution that does not work. It's either this number or this number. Door number 1, door number 2.
It is door number 1.
Door number 1. Austin says it's door number 1. Now, let me explain to you why Austin is correct. Here we go. Watch. Look at the negative 2. We go all the way up to the very beginning of the problem. Uh-oh. What would happen if I were to plug in a negative 2 right there or right there? The denominator would equal 0. You can't have 0 in the denominator. So if you ever get a solution, if you're watching this video, if you ever get a solution and it plugs into a denominator and it makes it equal to 0, you just found what's called an extraneous solution. So right now, everybody, try to finish this bracket. That answer does not work. So therefore, your final answer is just the number 4. That number, if you were to plug it in, works. So the last thing we're going to do on this video is to show you, so we're only doing this one problem, that's it. Show you how to take a number and plug it into your equation to see if it works. So here's what we're going to do. We know it's the number 4. So right now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the number 4 and you're going to put it right there. And then you're going to take the number 4 and you're going to put it right there. The number 4, right there, and right there. So you take the number and you plug it in. So, what would we have in the numerator right there? We have the number 4. And what number would we have in the denominator right there? 6. Plus what? Plus 4 equals, what's 4 times 5? So that's going to be a 28 over 6. Now, let's add these together. Would you agree? This is 4 and 4, 6. And we're saying that's equal to what? 28 over 6. Then we go back to 5th grade when you start working on changing mixed numerals into improper fractions, and you can say 4 times 6 is 24, plus 4 is a 28, and you can say this mixed numeral does change into the improper fraction of 28 over 6. That's how you can check it without the calculator. You can plug it in and check it. Now you can use the calculator too and plug things in and check. So this is how to do it by hand. And this is the only problem we're going to do.